encouragement to turn tragedies into your own triumphant life story? If so, this podcast is for you. Listen to powerful guests who have persevered through challenges so you can gain strength to build a championship life. The host of Professor of Perseverance podcast, Dr. James Perdue.
Hey, come on in today. Get that cup of joe. Get that little caffeine to get you going, get you started for today. And thank you for showing up again. Hey, I am the Professor of Perseverance, Dr. James Perdue. Again, welcome you here, where we talk to people who have struggled to overcome their adversity, overcome their challenge, kicked it in the butt, did more than just survive, but they're thriving in life. And no different than any other story, we got one today. That tragedy come unexpectedly here, but she was able to, there you go, kick it in its teeth, in its butt, and moving on down the road. Hey, this is Brenda Bourns. She's from north of us here in the United States and Canada. Roughly 8 months ago or so, she suffered a freak accident while walking her dog that result in the loss of her right eye. She has proclaimed herself to be an accidental pirate during the pandemic. Well, let's go ahead and get started here with Brenda. Thank you for being here, Brenda. You pirate-looking thing, you.
Didn't we all secretly want to be a pirate when we were kids?
That's right. That's right. So Peter Pan and the pirates and all them, and oh yeah, so everybody we wanted to get out there and do that all that good stuff. Go find the buried treasures and fight the wild creatures, and yeah.
Absolutely.
So, all right, Brenda. Again, thank you for being here, and we're going to learn a lot from you today because, believe it or not, you're the first person that's I've interviewed that lost their eye. Okay. Now, I've had people that's lost their visions, lost their, whether they were born that way or acquired it later in life, but you're the first one that we've interviewed. So let's get an idea of what's going on with this eye. So what happened here to take place?
It was actually August 1st, and in Canada, that's the August long weekend. And our Winnipeg Jets, our hockey team, was in the playoffs, and they had just finished the game. And my husband went to bed, and I just thought, I'm just going to take the dog out to do her business, just, before bed, maybe walk a block or two. So I was just walking down the sidewalk in front of our house. And on our way home, I was about 10 feet away from our front yard when I can't tell you what it is, whether it was a little squirrel or a rabbit. I didn't see it, but something scurried right past our feet and my dog reacted. And I ended up tripping onto my knees and hitting my face on the ground on my neighbor's front lawn. And I remember getting up to my knees and holding my jaw and thinking, did I just lose some chiclets? Like, do I have all of my teeth? Because my face was like, it hurt a lot. There's a lot of squirrels in our neighborhood. So I think the biggest error that I made is instead of my dog jarring me by kind of going after these squirrels, I had wrapped her leash around my wrist to keep her closer to me so I had more control. Once I fell, she lunged forward after this little mammal, and I kissed the base of my neighbor's tree, and I hit it with such a force that it rocked me back, and I was like completely stunned. And of course, my face was throbbing, and my dog came back to me right away, and I was just kind of out of it for a minute. And I remember looking up and down the street, and there was no skateboarders, no bikes, no cars. And I saw my neighbors' lights on because they were watching the post-game show, but they were so far yet so close. Like I couldn't get to them. I couldn't move. And I'm a type 2 diabetic. So I went into diabetes ketoacidosis, and I was in shock. And I remember having cognitive conversation with myself saying, Brenda, you're in trouble. like, you're really in trouble, because my head felt like a football. And there's something to be said about the survivor's instinct. And there's also something to be said about the mother's instinct. So my daughter was at a socially distanced bonfire, and I knew she'd be coming home within the hour. And there was no way that I was going to have my daughter get dropped off and find her mother attached to the dog by a leash, covered in blood on the neighbor's front lawn. Like that just wasn't happening. And so and I don't mean to get graphic, but it truly was the warmth of the blood that I could feel, and the saltiness of it I could feel it taste it in my mouth. And I just kept snapping back, and my dog came right back to me. And the only thing I could think of is, she's got to get me home. Like, I can't do it. I'm numb, and I can't physically move. So I wrapped my hand around her collar, and she's about 55 pounds. And I just kept talking to her. Okay, Harley, let's go see daddy. Go see daddy. Let's go home. Let's go home. Take me to daddy. And she figured it out. Like, she knew. And she dragged me across my neighbor's lawn, across our lawn, up the stairs, and barked until my husband woke up. And it was like, my poor husband, he went to bed. He woke up, and I'm on the front steps on my knees, covered in blood. And I look like I've been like attacked. And he's like, what is going on? And I could barely speak. And all I could say to him is, go get me ice. Like, as I was thinking, go get me ice. And we live about 4 minutes away from, ironically, the eye hospital in our city, the hospital that has been dedicated to eye injuries. Not once did I think to call the ambulance. Not once did we even consider that. It was just, get me some ice, get me in the car, get me to the hospital. And we got there, and the next 23 hours was an absolute blur, because we are in a pandemic, and it was the August long weekend. I needed a CAT scan, and the CAT scan operator had been sent home at 11:30, and I showed up just after midnight. And there was a little bit of confusion, and there was a lot of chaos, and they said that I needed to go to another hospital to get the CAT scan. So off we go to the other hospital, and then as soon as we get there, my husband can't come in because of all of the COVID protocols. So I am whisked up to go and get this CAT scan done. And you know how it is, or maybe you don't, but in Canada, we do have free healthcare, but it's slower. There's a bit of a process. So I was there. They sent my husband home. At 6 o'clock in the morning, he calls the hospital to find out how I'm doing. And they're like, oh, she's not here anymore. She's been taken back to the other hospital.
Oh, no.
Like, what are you saying to me? So he comes to the next hospital. Now I'm having conversations with the surgeons, and they're saying, we're really going to try and save your eye. We will do our best. And 30 minutes into the operation, they called my husband at home, and they said, we can't save her eye. We need your consent to remove it. My husband was beyond devastated and trying to process it. And I came to, I realized I had learned that my eye was not able to be saved. And I think I took it better than my family. I was like, it's okay, honey. We'll be fine. I'll be fine. Like,
I got another one.
Yeah, I instantly felt that, you know what? So I'm going to need to relearn some things. I'm going to need to relearn depth perception and peripheral vision, but I will be fine. And then I was whisked by ambulance to the other hospital to deal with the diabetes ketoacidosis. So my surgeon had said to me, I'll have a follow-up with you on Friday, and you'll probably be at the other hospital for about a week. Well, that night they brought down my sugars, and they called my husband at 10:30 at night, and they're like, You can come pick her up. She's
Time to
ready
go.
to discharge.
Time to go. She's been evicted.
He's like, okay, I don't know how to deal with somebody who's lost an eyeball. I certainly don't know how to deal with diabetes ketoacidosis. I have not slept. I am beside myself. I just got my daughter on the phone. I'm like, honey, it's COVID central here right now. Just come and pick me up. I would like to just come home. And then unbeknownst to us, my daughter overheard my husband and I talking a couple of days after the accident, where I said, oh, well, we haven't heard from the insurance yet. And my daughter's 18 and she's pretty proactive. And she, unbeknownst to us, went and set up a GoFundMe page. I had no idea. My husband and I had no idea. We found out a day later when it had almost hit the goal. She had gone online, Googled prosthetic eyeballs, did the calculations from American dollars to Canadian dollars.
There you go.
And then when I found out about it, I'm like, Taya, I don't need a GoFundMe page. That's for people that are like paralyzed. She's like, you always taught me to have a contingency plan. My mom's getting an eyeball.
That's right.
And
we're going to get a marble put in there.
I came back onto social media. I haven't gone onto all of my channels yet, but I did come back onto Facebook to thank our community because they did fundraise all of these dollars. And believe it or not, we thought we had all the insurances in the world. We had car insurance, we have dog insurance, we have house insurance, life insurance, critical illness insurance, but they cover full blindness. They don't cover the loss of one eye.
Oh, okay.
So it was a blessing that our community rallied. And I'm a live event producer by trade. So I've got contacts from venues and athletes and musicians and government and nonprofits. And so my community found out about my injury, supported our family, and I came back on to thank them. And then I brought them on my journey of trying to find a patch that's going to fit my small face. And what is it like to have a liquid poured into your socket to make a mold for your prosthetic eye? And just, they joined me on this journey, and it did help me heal. And it was just 8 short months ago, but I truly feel that losing my eye was a gift. I'm incredibly grateful to be on this side of the grass. I'm incredibly grateful for the things that I do see and do experience. And I learned a lot of lessons about myself after the tragedy. And I think one of the biggest lessons is when the GoFundMe page happened, I was very overwhelmed by it. And I was, it humbled me. And I was talking to a girlfriend of mine and I said, you know what I would love to do? I should just take all of these donations and pay it forward to like blind sports or to, and she's like, Brenda, have you ever given to a GoFundMe before? I said, yes. She says, if you don't accept that gift, you're not accepting the gift. She goes, this isn't about a pay it forward. This is about all of the things that you've done in our community for years, and people want to help. And it was a real aha moment for me that I'm a great giver. I'm not a great acceptor.
That goes to one of my arguments that I have to people that the old, even the Bible and everything, people say it's better to give than receive. And I'm going, okay, that's great, but it shouldn't be a two-way street, because what if everybody's a giver, then no one's a taker? Then you can't give if they're not taking. But then you got those absolute people that they're taking no matter what. They're taking, and they're not giving crap back.
Right.
All right. Okay. So in reality, it's got to be a two-way street to be able to give and receive, and for that to be. So yes, it's better to give than receive, but if you ever have to receive, you need to humble yourself and be thankful that there's people out there that will give to help you.
It was the biggest lesson. And I think as an event producer, I'm so used to taking care of the clients and the sponsors and the charity and the guests and the ambassadors and the VIPs and so this is what I do is I'm a fixer. And so sometimes you just need to take that step back and realize that, people want to help and people want to be a part of your journey. And so I started going about walking my dog again, and the fall leaves were starting to fall, and I was trying to understand my depth perception of walking amongst the leaves and the mud and how to maneuver and just simple things to relearn. And it was kind of awesome to go back on Facebook and take pictures of things that I saw on my journey. And it was hashtag community eyeball.
There you go. There you go.
The community gifted me this eyeball. And I do have the prosthetic eye. I'll show you. Sometimes I wear my patch because my face is still healing and my eye sometimes weeps. And I won't say that it weeps a pretty crystal clear tear. Now, sometimes it's like after you've had the flu and it's kind of goopy and not pretty. Mm-hmm. So sometimes if it feels like that in the morning, I'm very comfortable wearing my patch. And to be honest, I feel kind of badass in it. I love my patch.
There you go. That's right. That's right.
But they did gift me, and I do have a little scar here, but they did gift me an eye that's a pretty good match to my other eye. And it was amazing to me because of how technology is right now with all the 3D renderings. And I didn't realize how they make a prosthetic eye. And so I was probably the craziest patient they've ever had. I'm taking all these pictures, I'm taking video because I'm going to post it to Facebook and I'm going to share it with all my friends. But when they're making it, it's literally a gentleman who sits there or a lady, and they hand paint exactly the colors that they see in your iris. And it's unbelievable. So the doctor was painting away, and I said to him, "Do you take any requests?"
There you go.
He's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, my nickname is B. When I played sports, I was Killer B." I'm like, "I don't have a tattoo on my body, but I could, if I have to lose my really kick-ass patch, can you put a bumblebee on my..."
There you go. There you go.
He sure did. So it was so funny because I said to my husband, I got in the truck after, I'm like, "Hon, I want to show you something." And he's a little bit queasy, right? He's like, no.
That's right.
I'm like, okay. I wasn't going to take it out and show him, but I wanted to show him the bee. And he was like, no. I'm like, okay. So I had a picture of it and I just sent it in the family group chat. My family is like, "You're crazy, Mom."
Oh.
But I just thought, you know what? Life is too short. And if you're going to get lemonade or lemons, make lemonade. And
I'm one of them that when you give in a bucket of lemons, throw them away and go make a strawberry pie. All right. So I like a lemon. I like a nice lemon pie, lemon meringue pie, but I prefer a strawberry pie. So so I just throw it away. So, hey, now there's a couple of things I want to go back to way back here at the beginning. Okay.
Yes.
One, you were talking about the Winnebago playing in the playoffs. I'm right outside of Nashville, Tennessee. So the Predators stunk it up last year and didn't get to the playoffs. So actually, did they get something? They got eliminated because of the COVID, maybe.
Oh.
I know the South. I know our soccer team got eliminated because a bunch of them got the COVID right at that time. But I don't think Predators even made the playoffs last year. I don't think so. But they are playing off this year. So
yes.
We just tied it up to 2-2 here. I think it is. So
we just swept the Oilers last night, and we have never beat the Edmonton Oilers in the history of our franchise.
Oh, wow.
So when I was a teenager, we never got past the first round because we were always up against Edmonton. And those were the Gretzky dynasty years when they won 5 Stanley Cups in 6 years. So I grew up like really not liking the Oilers.
That's right.
We never advanced. So for our team now to have advanced and won 4 straight, there was a triple overtime last night. The game didn't end till 1:45 in the morning.
Yeah, Nashville, the past two games, have won both of them in double overtime.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
last two games. So I think they play again tonight. I think so.
Exciting.
All right. Then also, so got into that one. Then also, um, you mentioned about Harley, your dog, and I got my boy Ricardo. He's my service dog. I
I
don't know if
love
you know,
that.
but I'm in a wheelchair. I got my neck broke playing
Oh, I'm
football,
sorry.
and so he's man, dogs are awesome, aren't they? And
You're
they are
so
so much smarter than people give
Oh,
credit for. Harley figured it out. I got to get home to daddy,
yeah.
and mama needs help. I got to drag
Yeah.
her. Finally figured it out. My
Yeah.
boy Ricardo, man, he's awesome. So yeah, they're great. Dogs are getting much smarter than people give credit for. So then then the other thing I was going to talk about, you talking about your survival instinct and mother instinct with daughter, didn't want her to see you and everything. And the survival instinct, though, I give this one great story. I say it's great. I think it's great. But I was going to work years ago and I come around a curve and I missed the accident. I didn't see it, but I did see two cars over on the side of the road and there was a dog in the middle of the road. And apparently it got hit in the back and it was paralyzed. This
Mm.
dog survival instinct kicked in, wanted to live another day. He's taking his front paws, dragging himself to get off the road so he wouldn't get hit again. Where a
Yeah.
lot of us would be going, "Oh, I'm paralyzed." Well, I did that. I got paralyzed, and I go, why me? Why did it happen to me? Why couldn't? Why? If I would have done, if I wouldn't have done this, if I would have done this, no. Sometimes we as humans sometimes are too smart for our own good. Instead of just accepting, moving on, and not to say you don't water around in your own little mud pit like a pig. Okay, nothing wrong with that, but get out of there, clean yourself up, and let's move on.
Yeah.
And it's easier said than done in a lot of cases. All right, so move on to that one. So, but yeah, survival instinct kicks in for the ones that really want. There's so many out there that want to give up too early. So,
It's true. And
and
when after my injury, a friend of mine, purely by fluke, one of my close friends from junior high works for my eye surgeon. And my daughter had this short list of people to reach out to. And my girlfriend Shelly wasn't working that weekend. And so Taya reached out to her and she's like, thank goodness you called me, because if I had gone into work after the long weekend on the Tuesday morning and saw Brenda Bourns on the list of full enucleation, she goes, I might have had a heart attack. But Shelly introduced me to this page on Facebook, and it's a one-eyed support group. And I went onto that page, and after a while, I couldn't go on because everybody's on a different step in their journey.
yes,
And some people were in a really, really dark place. And thank goodness I never went to that dark place. I literally was out running 5 kilometers with my dog 20 days after my accident. Harley and I were back jogging. Like, I just never looked back. I just wanted to look forward. But it was a big reality check for me that so many people deal with tragedy or deal with crises in a different way. Not everyone's the same.
oh
And
yes, yes, yes.
some
I've seen.
people are like, it's too high for them to, and so they kind of break down and either they really struggle mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically.
Everything, yes. And one part of it, and of course, I've never done a research, I never read research on it, but I would think a part of it, if not a big, huge amount, it seems like the ones that are like that, the negative, that don't accept it, and just always they also don't seem to have the supporting cast
Correct.
around them.
Yeah.
A daughter that would get on and set up a fund me page, a husband to do everything, Harley to help out.
Yeah.
They don't seem to have that supporting cast
Yeah.
either. Now, other thing I wanted to mention to go with that, you were talking about, your daughter being so gracious and thankful, and wanted mama to have this nice new eyeball and everything like that. And so, getting on starting that GoFundMe page. And so, and you were second doubting, should I, really, I got one eye, I'm okay. I should, but maybe we'll donate to someone else that really needs it. And here's what we say in the South. Here's what we say: don't take my blessing away from me.
Hmm.
You know, I feel a blessing by being able to help you.
That's the
And
biggest lesson I learned.
if you turn around and give that away without talking to everybody that was involved in it, because you're giving their money away and their intention was to help you, and
Yes.
now you're stealing my blessing. And so that's what we say in the South to make people take what we want when they go, well, no, I don't really need, don't steal my blessing.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yes, it was a very big lesson for me, and probably the biggest aha moment for me personally, to realize that of course I have to be grateful and humbled and accepting of these beautiful tokens of respect or of support. And yeah, it really did shake me when she said that to me, and I thought, of course I want to accept everyone's graciousness. And it was so completely overwhelming to me, and I was more overwhelmed by the support of my community than I was about the loss of my eye.
because now you're and we don't have to know this, but it's reassuring to us to know that how much people really do care for us.
Yeah.
And you're finding out a big old bundle of people, a community that really love you and want
Yes.
to. Now we shouldn't have to care for that. We just need to take it for granted that, in my case, I have two people that love me. I don't have a whole community, and so we go from there. Yeah. So now I want to ask this question here. Your Harley's dragging you home. Like you said, the blood coming down, the warmth, the salty taste, and everything.
Yeah.
Before getting to the house and the husband finally coming in, Harley waking him up and getting him to the door, did you know, other than you're open somewhere, that you're bleeding, did you realize that you can't see out of that eye yet?
Well,
Uh, were you
when I was
looking, you could see out of one
yeah,
eye?
yeah,
Did you wink in the right eye or winking your left and you go, wait a minute, something's not right?
I did, and that was just at the base of the tree because I hit it with such a force. And when I say my head was throbbing, my head felt like it was like going like an accordion. It was just beyond comprehension, the pain. And I remember looking up and I couldn't see because I was closing this eye. I'm like, yep, nope, I can't see out of that eye. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, well, did I just injure? And I played sports too. I played rugby. I played women's tackle football. I played hockey. I've been playing sports my whole life. And so I'm thinking, okay, do I have blood behind my eye, or there was that process of, not once did I think that I lose my eye, but I thought that I'm bleeding and there's blood in my eye. And when we got the diagnostics back, my girlfriend Shelly sent it to me, and she's like, B, did you read what's on the paperwork there? I'm like, well, I read it, but it kind of went over my head. And she's like, okay, well, this is the top pathologist in the city. And the words were like, it appears to be, perhaps, could be. She goes, Brenda, they don't know what they're dealing with. She goes, you're going to be in the medical journals.
There you go.
I broke it's called an orbital floor blowout.
Uh-huh.
So I broke in the floor of my cheekbone. And she said, normally, if you break the cheekbone, you save the eye. Or you save the eye and you have the broken orbital floor. She goes, we never see both. She goes, you hit
Wow.
that tree with such an impact. So the doctors were talking about perhaps putting a titanium plate under here. But once I had my prosthetic eye in, it looks like there's just enough shelf that my eye sits and my face won't continue to droop. I do have the scar here, but
Mm-hmm.
as Shelley says, Brand, don't worry, guys dig scars. Like, okay.
Next woman that argues with you, tell her, say, see a scar? That's in the last fight I was in. You ought to see her.
So I don't worry about this little scar, but it's
Nah, I'm
it
too
it
old to worry
was a
about that stuff
journey
like
for
that.
sure. It
Yep.
was a journey.
I met other people that have, I don't know if they come out basically, I mean, say the same thing, but they, a roundabout way, that what they're going through has made them stronger, made them see things in a lot different way. And it's the same thing. Whether they want to come out and say it or not, uh, again, I've said it. I've said it. I don't have to like what happened to me, but overall, it may have been the best thing that ever happened to me. I mean, I would. Who would ever thought I'd be over in Africa? Who would I'd be over in Germany? Who would have thought that I would have gone to? I was a C student in high school, and now with a doctoral degree, who I still see people I went to
Yeah.
school with. I still see people I go to school with, and they go, you got a doctor, you know. So and then depending on the mood I'm in, I'll go, well, yeah, man, or I'll go, well, I know you started college. How far did you get? And knowing they didn't graduate, so
Yeah.
depending on my mood, I'll slip that in a little bit. So, but overall, and I've always said this, I believe we go through some things in life, maybe not everything, but it's to show us how strong we really are and what we can endure. And then think of the other people that you're helping. They're helping you, but you're helping them because they're going, man, Brenda lost the eye, and man, I'd be self pitying it. I'd be drinking all the time. I would be, and I've said to other people because they go, well, I couldn't do what you're doing. Well, you don't know, man, because you're not in my situation.
Right.
If you were in my situation, you would find out how strong you are, or you're going to find out you're not strong. You said, but yeah, same thing with you, Brendan. You're being a great leader for other people, and again, your positive attitude is just so contagious.
Well, thank you. I do believe that, we are living in surreal times. The pandemic, the quarantine, the code reds and the restrictions. And I think at the time of my accident, when people were in our city, they were all quarantined, everyone was stuck at home, and they logged on and they started following my journey. And I had a lot of people inbox me and say, I was having a really tough day. And I log on and I'm like, there's Brenda. Off she is. She's going for a 5-kilometer run with her dog. She goes, oh my gosh. She goes, Brenda, you just help me snap out of things sometimes. And I took that at face value of, oh my goodness. Like when people say to you, oh, I find that really inspiring, or you inspire me. It's like, oh, I'm just trying to get day by day. I don't wake up in the morning going, I'm going to inspire my friends today on Facebook. No, I'm just trying to figure out how to thread that needle because it's really hard for me to see, or how to pour my tea without spilling it on myself because I've missed the depth perception there. And so for those going through it, we're just trying to get day by day. But it did make me realize that if anything I share inspires someone, I know what it's like to go online and be inspired by somebody, by their strength, by their perseverance, to be honest, I think I'm just super stubborn, and no broken eyeball is going to slow Brenda Bourns down. Like I am just going to relearn things and carrying on.
Well,
But
I think also you got that, what I said with me at the very beginning before my injury. And I think a lot of people, you say super stubborn. I think with the athletic mentality you've got and everything, that you felt invincible, and
perhaps.
nothing's going to stop you. Because that's the way I felt before my injury. Nothing would stop me. I was going to do what I wanted to do. I was going to play sports. I was going to be a pro athlete. And then this happened. And then my mentality changed this wheelchair is not going to stop me. I'm going to do what I can. And
Right.
it's still the mentality of invincible or super stubbornness. But I think they run hand in hand here.
And I think sometimes stubborn wins
Yes.
because there's just that
Oh, yes.
tenacity. There's just that tenacity to carry on and to keep going. And I find that my life before my accident was really crazy. As an event producer, I've been really lucky to have produced some of Canada's largest events. So our version of your Super Bowl is the Grey Cup game. Our version of your Grammys is the Junos. I've done the FIFA and the NHL All-Star games and the World Junior Hockey. And it's a very rapid, fast-paced lifestyle. And sometimes you need something to slow you down. And to
Stop,
sometimes
slow down.
Karma is a thing.
Yes, that's right. Sometimes we need to slow down and smell the roses.
Well, the universe works in mysterious ways, right? And if you're not going to slow down, it'll slow you down.
Yes. Sometimes I tell people, if people say, when you see the light at the end of the tunnel and so I throw in a little bit more, I say, when you see the light at the end of the tunnel, it's not a freight train coming,
yeah.
Then you're in good shape.
Yes.
Or I'll say, sometimes in life, we've got to walk through the fertilizer to be able to get to that rose.
100%.
Yeah. So,
100%.
Well, Brenda, wow, I appreciate that. Again, you're just contagious with your positivity and humor. And again, I love it. And the message to show people that life still goes on, no matter what the circumstances is. Okay. You don't have to lose one eye. You don't have to be a spinal cord injury. You could go through cancer, addiction, whatever, and you can still straighten up and then do the best you can in life.
Well, I feel really blessed in the sense that although my industry is completely shuttered, there's no large live events, arena and stadium size happening in Canada. I've seen some of the things going on in the States. You guys are a little bit further ahead.
We're getting back to it. Yeah.
We're not quite there yet. So what I was introduced to is because, not that I'm super conscious about it, but when you look at yourself in the mirror for 52 years and then all of a sudden the reflection looks back at you and it looks a little different, it's kind of jarring a little bit. And so I got introduced to a company that taught me. I'm a total tomboy. I've never worn makeup for 40 years. And now I'm learning how to put on makeup. And you look at it as practice for this eye. I practice putting on makeup. I've never worn makeup forever. And now I'm practicing and I'm learning. And then I just became really passionate about helping people feel good about the skin that they're in and to accept who you are, but just to find that inner beauty and just to celebrate that. And so that's been a blessing, the opportunity to come on podcasts, to share my story, to work with entrepreneurs. That's what keeps me busy, because not only did I lose an eye, I lost a career for a good 15 months. And I mourn that. I mourn the loss of my career more than I mourn the loss of my eye. Because I think sometimes we have an identity with what it is that we do. I'm an event producer. That's what my sense was.
Part of who we are.
Yeah. And now it's like, well, now I work with entrepreneurs in the beauty business, and it's foreign to me, but it's a wicked challenge, and I'm always up for a challenge, and I love it.
There we go.
And so
your next podcast, I hope you have a better host. All right. So I just sat back and didn't do anything. So I hope you get a better host. So, well, Brenda, thank you for being here. Tell people how they can get a hold of you if somebody may want you to speak with them or be on their podcast, or you ever decide to write a book that you can get that out there. So tell the people how they can get a hold of you.
My company website is eventstrategypro.com. So www.eventstrategypro.com. Or if you just Google Brenda Bourns, you will find me. I'll pop up in different places, whether it's LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook, and I would love to connect.
I'll put those links in the show notes. I'll go find your LinkedIn and Facebook, and I'll get that stuff, and I'll put it in the show notes, make it easy on people to find you. And
I'm
so, all right,
slowly getting back to those social media channels. I'm back to Facebook, but I haven't got back to all the other ones. So if you go there, it looks like it's been in a time warp, but I promise I'll get back to it as I get better going back online. I'll connect again.
I tell people I get on Facebook long enough to see who's cussed me out, and then get off there. That's about all I do. I don't do with it. I don't do it like it should be done. So, all right, Brenda. Hey, now we know
Thank
people
you.
are struggling today. So, if you can give us a powerful message to help them get through today.
I truly believe that every day that we have is a gift, and that it should be treasured as such. And that if you have the opportunity to take that time to find gratefulness in the beauty around us every day, that it is super important. And that we should cherish our family and friends, because you just never know. In the blink of an eye, no pun intended, your life can change.
Amen, sister. A lot of people can testify to that one. So, all right, Brenda, thank you for being here. And hey, anyone else that's coming in on the replay, be sure to share this out to someone. Again, they don't have to have lost an eye to be able to get the message. They don't have to be a spinal cord injury. The message of being hopeful and continue on life is still the same. For everyone else, if anything I can do to help you, go to my website, professorofperseverance.com. Again, scroll down a little bit and you'll see a free mini course I put together. It's free. And also a free ebook to go with it. And both of them are titled, Your Past Doesn't Have a Future, But You Do. Create Your Future Today. Everyone else, thank you for this, and do something today, tomorrow, something next week that's going to help you persevere past your paralysis.
Thanks for listening to the Professor of Perseverance podcast for motivation, inspiration, and encouragement. For more information, go to Facebook at Professor of Perseverance. Visit the website at professorofperseverance.com and view the YouTube channel, Dr. James Purdue, Professor of Perseverance.